few goodies there. So basically what we got behind me, this is my 79 series Land Cruiser. I've ground up, restored this about 2 or 3 years ago. Took me a long time to, you know, chassis up sort of build. It was yeah, very in depth. So basically we've just done a lap around Australia, as you probably see on some of our YouTube episodes. Now, one thing I did when I built the car, I did a 105 rear coil conversion. So basically what you do is you buy a 105 series chassis, you cut all your bits out, like your coil hats and your diff mounts and all that sort of stuff. You shorten it, weld it back together, and then you fit it inside the chassis. So basically this is what we used to do, or what we have done in the early days to coil convert the 79s. Now, basically, it did me well. Nothing really went wrong around Australia. It did annoy me a bit. I never really was stoked on the way it handled. So just having sort of 4-inch lift, 35-inch tyres, I got a lot of rear steer with the panhard. Obviously like 4.2 ton. I was hard on it, but it just never handled the way I sort of expected it to, like when you put so much time and effort into something. I have done long arms, so it's adjustable uppers, billet torsion sway bar system, adjustable uppers, adjustable lowers, and they're longer as well. So, you know, I did my best to try and make it work, and I didn't hate it, but I just wasn't happy with it. So basically, this is going back a few years before Superior actually had their triangulated 4-link kit. Now, I'll tell you, doing that myself, cost me probably well over $4 by the time I paid someone to weld it, and I cut it all and got all the uppers and lowers made and stuff like that. So it wasn't cheap either. But basically nowadays, Superior offer a weld-in kit. So for $3.5 basically this is what you get. Lowers, coil hats, all your brackets. Now all your brackets just pick up bolt holes in the chassis, so you basically nearly can't get it wrong. There's your bottom coil hats, lower control arm mounts. These are all your diff brackets. So there's your bottom shock mounts for your diff. They also pick up the lower control arms. There's your upper control arm mounts, sway bar, bolts, nuts, bolts, sway bar brackets, chassis bracing. There's the new 2.5s that I'm going to put in. So yeah, basically you just order the kit online. $3.5, mate. You can't, like I was saying, I spent way more than that trying to do it myself, and yeah, never was really happy with it. So what we do now is a bit of a pain in the ass, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it's definitely a pain in the ass. Cutting it all out, redoing it all again, but we're always on the road, we're always loaded, and you know, I want my ute to handle. I just don't want to be cursing it all the time like I am now. So I've already got the 2.5s, shockies in the front, Superior 2.5, and it's made a world of difference. So I can't wait to get them in the back and see what kind of difference it makes. So yes, I've sort of cheated a bit. I got the boys to actually do a diff for me, just because that's where the time is, getting all that right. You know, I just didn't want to get it wrong, so I've got the boys at Superior to do that for me. I had it done in RAPTOR liner. So what I got to go do is I got to go cut all this out now. Cut it all out, chop everything off, and yeah, start fitting up the new stuff. So once again, got the GoPro. I'll do it step by step. It's not going to be as you would do it if you bought the kit from Superior, but it's going to be, yeah, a 5-link to 4-link conversion. You're going to get the gist of how it works and how easy it is. So yeah, a couple of days of swinging spanners and on the grinder and on the welder, and we'll have it sorted and hopefully ready to hit the road again. Should be ready to come out. Bloody ripper. That's not too bad for a couple of hours. Ripped it all out. Now I've got to start cutting all this shit out. Redivert all that. Rip off all these arms. Shockies, cleaning them up. Yeah, so hopefully tomorrow I get spend a few hours on the grinder and just get stuck into it, and hopefully rip those hats out And then I might be able to start bolting some of the stuff in and just sort of tacking it all up. But yeah, we'll see how it goes, but pretty happy with that. I think this diff's actually bent in through here. Yeah, it is. Kicks like that. And look, you can see how my tyre has been wearing on the inside like that. Anyway, it'll be a lot of cleaning up. Once I get it out, I'm gonna have to sand a lot of stuff back. Hopefully, have it out in sort of the next 20 minutes, that'd be nice. Smashing it. Wish it would went in as quick as it's coming out. There we go. 105, no more. Just got to clean all that up now. Tidy all that up. And I can start throwing my superior stuff in. It's coming off. Sweet. Sweet, so I've got the sway bar brackets off. That's it there on the ground there. I've also cut off the pan hard bracket. So basically, that side there on the outside's ready to go. Now I've got to go through, chop all this out and clean up all these bits of dags and that were left over from the coil hats. So I'll mirror that and get this last sway bar bracket off on this side. Cut that off. And then I can go ahead and start fitting all the new gear. So yeah, a couple of hours on the grinder and we'll be sorted. Should be good. Righty. Now everything's out basically, so everything's cut out. Just give it a quick sand up. Cleaned all that up on the inside, got my hangers off the bottom here. So now, oh yeah, even cleaned up that bit there, got those off. So what I'm gonna do now is, I'm just gonna go through and start laying everything out, basically each side. What I will do is, because I've already got a diff that's been done, I'm just gonna show you what actually comes in the kit and how it sort of works, so you just get a bit of an idea. But yeah, I don't actually have to use some of these parts, which is gonna be save me a bit of time. But yeah, so I'll go lay everything out and then give you a bit of an idea of how it's all gonna go together. I'll just quickly show you this little diff roller that I made. I actually made this when I built the ute about 3 years ago, and it was mainly because I was doing my own coil conversion and I had the diff in and out so many times. I got sick of trying to carry it in, and obviously when the wheels are on, it kind of fights you a little bit. So yeah, made this little diff roller and always managed to hang on to it over the years and not throw it out. And I was like, you know, so many times I was going to throw it at the tip, and I thought, nah, one day I'll use it again. And sure enough, here we are. So yeah, glad I hung on to it, one of those things. But yeah, I'll go through now and start laying all this stuff out, and you'll get an idea of how this kit's going to go together, and me as well. I mean, I've read the instructions. They email you about, it's 50 steps basically on how to put it all together. So a bit different in my circumstances because there's a couple of things missing on my end. But yeah, got a fair idea of how it's going to go together, and we'll start whacking her in, or whacking her off. Look at how you're going to put this diff together. So there's your lower control arm mount to the diff, shock mount on the back. So as you can see it there, there's your coil hat, there's your upper control arms, like triangulated bracket. So that all sits up right on top of there. Nice, perfectly cut out. Coil hat, another coil hat. That one goes, yeah, that's the right way. That's as that sits there. And then, yeah, obviously your right-hand side control arm bracket with shock mount on the back. So that's how she ends up looking, basically. Now I'm just kind of giving everything a quick clean. Just clean those chassis rails. Basically everywhere I know where I'm gonna have to weld a brace on or something, I'm just going through and give it a good clean. Now I'm gonna weld some weld through primer on it, just so that it doesn't rust when the two metals touch each other. Right at the end, I'll probably do some Sikaflex once it's all done. But it's getting towards the end of the day now, so if I get this primer on now, I can let it sit overnight, come on in the morning, throw my braces on, tack it all up, and then, yeah, get it all on. So I'll go give it a quick hit. I'll show you what I've got here. A bit of stuff, actually. Don't worry about that. Just for tidying shit up. So we got some weld through primer, brake fluid, acid etch primers from RAPTOR. So basically I'll go give that a hit before I put any of that RAPTOR coating on. That's an adhesive for anywhere that I can't get with cleaning or sanding or anything like that. So that's just for the stickiest places. And then there's my actual final coat, RAPTOR coating. So it's all just be in black, make it look all tidy. So yeah, I'll go throw some of this on. Primer's all on now, so I can let that sit overnight, and that'll be nice and dry in the morning. And then I can start throwing in some of these braces and stuff like that without making too much of a mess. So what I'm doing now, I'm just while I'm waiting for that paint to dry, I've just got a 10mm deep socket here. And I'm just gonna go around and basically just mark out where exactly I want to weld on this thing so it's nice and even, and basically so I don't get too carried away. So. Okay, so this side's all marked out now, so you'll see where I weld and where I leave. So what I can do now is go and knock the zinc off them so that I can lay an actual decent weld on them, so that it sticks and gets good penetration. Right, now I know I said to you guys I was going to wait till tomorrow until this primer dries, but I've been keeping myself busy. I've just been running these are the sort of the little 12mm bolts that come with the kit. I've just been running them through the old existing threads just to make sure like there's all filled up with dirt and shit like that. So it's been keeping me busy, plus I've been marking out for these bracing. So it's giving that chance for the primer a chance to actually dry. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to start test fitting stuff. I'm going to put this coil hats in now. I've got one upper control arm bracket in. I'm just going to start sort of throwing it in and seeing how it all looks and wrapping my head around it a bit. So yeah, get into it. Quick clamp. I'll go get a quick clamp. Take two by myself. Get myself a little bit more prepped, how about that? All right, well that's a day. Scratch up your primer. Yeah, happy with how that's going. I think I'll pull that coil hat back out. As much of it as a bummer as it was to get in, and I'll actually weld my inner braces first. This thing is going to give me a better angle at it. So yeah, I'm going to call it a day and come back in the morning and rip into it. I'd hopefully like to have everything welded tomorrow, and even slide the diff in, sit the coils in, and just get a rough idea of how she's looking. But yeah, I want to try and bowl it over. It's not that crazy of a job, especially if you don't have to cut the coils out already like I did. You'd be real well and truly on your way by now. So anyway, that's a day. Another morning, straight back into her. So what I've done this morning is, you notice that this cross member would have been missing. So basically when we did my coil conversion, the hat sat a bit further back and we actually had to delete that. Now I thought, you know, I've actually had a bit of spare shit laying around, so I've gone and cut a little cross member in between. Basically that's where she goes, kind of. I just got to square it up a little bit. So I'm going to go back through and weld that in, and then I can go through and get some stitches along here, and it'll I don't actually think that the coil like sort of tower or hat itself would have needed the support because it's so bloody strong. But I thought while I'm there and I've got a bit of scrap, I may as well throw it back in. So Get that in there now. I'm gonna pull these back out once that's in, and then I'm gonna start welding all my inner braces on. Take that off so I can get in there and put a weld on. Get that new cross member in. Just throwing a bit of primer on it now so that I can back that coil tower in here and then throw some welds on. It's got a bit of primer behind it, so yeah, I can go and throw that coil hat in now, bolt it up, push it right back, and throw some welds on it. Before I do, what I'm probably going to do, wherever it is over here, I think a bit of a mess going on actually. I'm just going to go through and knock some of the zinc off in a few spots where I'm going to weld, just to make it a bit easier. So now I'll do that now and then throw her in. Okay. So I've got my coil tower sitting in. It's bolted in from underneath there. Basically push far back into that cross member. Now I've just gone through and just nicked all my zinc off where I want to weld. So basically what I've got is a clamp here just to pull it tight into the chassis. Now once I stitch that on, I'm then going to go and weld these end corners up. I think they leave them open so that you can actually stretch it out and make it nice and tight. So first things first, I'm going to go through and I'm going to tack it all so that it can't move. And then once it's completely tacked everywhere, I'm going to get in there and yeah, smash some welds on it. So yeah, see how we go. Alrighty, so it's all tacked up. I'm gonna go through and weld her off. This is nearly the last of the welding up the top before I get underneath. That'll do, pig. That'll do. The coil hat's welded in. I'll show you what I've got to do now. So, got these two followers. So they're going to go down in there. Going to come down in there like that. Brace that. So I'll go through and do that now. Making some ground. Got this brace in on the outside. Coil tower is fully mounted. Now I've just got this inner bracket with the upper control arm, I guess you'd call it, mount. So I've got that sitting in there. I've got the clamp hard under there, pinning that to the top, and I'm gonna go and tack her up now. Too. So I've just finished welding that inner bracket on. So I just got to go through a grind and clean that up in a couple of spots, but that's on, external brackets on. Now I just got to go and mount this bugger. This bugger goes up. Oh, it's my head. Goes up in there. So I just got to clean up that leftover grinding there from that from my old hangers. We'll put that on and get those fuel lines out of the way. And yeah, weld her on. So what I'm doing is, I bolt it in, I clamp this up and down, I do the bolts up tight, those ones there, and then I go through and I put a clamp on these and I just put a tack, and I keep moving the clamps down as I tack it. So I've just gone through and trued these, so these are exactly the same spot as the other one, so I'm right to go and weld. Second last bit to weld on, so I'm gonna just get stuck straight into it. I really want to get all the welding done today so that I can wrap the line in the morning, give it a quick sand, a few ugly welds that I've done, most of them are pretty good. Give it a quick sand, wrap the line, and then I'll assemble my diff, give it time to dry, and hopefully get majority of this shit done tomorrow. If you can't tell, I'm kind of in a rush. We're given the all clear to get back on the road now traveling, so once I get this done and then I get my toy hauler done, we're good to go. So Jen's putting the pressure on and I'm definitely feeling it. Rightio, so welding's completely done. Just packed up the welder. Now before I go and sweep, I'm just gonna hit all this with a wire wheel just to sort of knock the top off this shit. Then I'm gonna throw it in primer, bit of RAPTOR liner primer, and then I'm gonna blow it all off. I'll blow it all off before I hit in primer and then give it a coat. And then while I'm waiting for that to dry, I'll start assembling the diff. So yeah, clean her up. Now what I'm gonna go do is run around with this RAPTOR. It's an acid etch primer. So basically I'm gonna go throw it on. This is for all the spots I couldn't get the wire wheel and the rag into. So that's just an adhesion promoter. So it just helps it stick. So I'm gonna put a bit of that in a few corners and stuff like that. But yeah, basically gonna give her a prep with this, let her dry, and then smack her with some RAPTOR liner. So yeah, let's go. I'll tell you, for something like this with a weld-on coil conversion, shit, it's good because it's just so thick. You can just see it lathering over the cracks. My kind of painting too, to be honest. You don't have to fuck around with it so much. Gee, it's really good at what it does, eh? Like, that's going to be perfect for being around, especially around the wheel arch here. Flicking mud and stones and all that kind of shit. That's a nice thick coating. Interested to see how it goes. So I got 95% of it all done. I just ran a bit short on that other side, so I'll have to get myself another can tomorrow and touch up a few bits, but it's not going to stop me from putting it all back together. So while all that's drying, I'm going to start putting my diff together now. So yeah, closer and closer. We're nearly superior coil converted 79. So now it's time just to swap everything over from the 105 diff housing to the 79. So luckily, everything's the same except for the length of the axles. So that diff center, which has recently been rebuilt with a solid spacer instead of a cross tube. So that's only been done 3,000 or 4,000 K. So that's ready to go in. All these brake lines will transfer, backing plates, brakes, everything like that will go on. So I'll drain the oil out of this one and then completely strip it and start loading onto this one. That's pretty cool. I know that there's a thread inside the axle, so you can wind it in and it pulls the axle out. And obviously you've seen how many bolts are in the Superior kit. One of them actually fits, so that's pretty cool. Sweet, so I've got the backing plates off and all the brakes, all on the new one. So all I got to do now is take this diff center out and throw that bit of garbage in the bin. Just gone over the handbrake shoes and I have a new set there, but I think I'll just give it a quick hit with emery tape, but I'm actually not going to replace them because there's still heaps of beef on them, so there's no actual point. I'll just give it a bit of a clean up. So now what I'm doing is just cleaning up. I put all the studs in for the diff center, so just give that a good wipe out. Now I'm going to go, shit there, grab that. Now I'm gonna go and fit the center. So I'll put that in and then I'll put my hubs back on. Andy's just doing a new bearing for me over there. And then, yeah, we'll be one step closer. Bit of goop.
Coming this year, you don't get a choice.
Thank you, Andy. How's she looking? Tight like a toiger. I'll just put this one back together. I don't know about it. I think I'm gonna have to get a new wheel bearing kit in the morning. Yeah. I think she's I greased her up, repacked it, but I'm not happy with the way it feels. So I might have to redo that in the morning. See what you reckon, Andy? It's fucked, hey?
Well.
Should I back it off a little bit and see what it feels like? It's fucked, hey?
It's a bearing.
Yeah. Oh well, new bearing tomorrow.
Yep, that's it.
That's not how to do it. Sweet, so the bottoms are in. Are you in, Andy? Or you want to come down a bit?
Nah.
There we go. Next, put the uppers in. This is pretty cool. So this is clearly your driver's side because it's got two little bits where you can zip tie your brake cable to the upper control arm. So that side's Andy's. Which way do you reckon? Which way do you decide? Thread down?
If they're up, you need water in them. If they're down.
This is why the boys are here drinking beers, giving me their hand. There's some cool stuff. There we go. We have triangulation. Full ink. Well, they're in, so we just gotta get that in a bit more, but
kick that thermometer across one.
Hang on.
It's all coming together. Ooh. Making a little bit of progress. Got the coils in. Got lines for the airbag. I'm just gonna run them temporarily like that for now. Got the shocks sitting in there up the top. Coils are in, bags are in. I'm just gonna play around with this brake line now. It comes with a new hose, so I'm gonna run that in down there and get that sorted, start putting some of this stuff out of the way. Got that side's right to go. I can put that back together. Just got to do a new wheel bearing on the other side. But yeah, getting there. Starting to look like a car again. Bit of a bugger of a day today. Something I completely forgot about is that because I was running a 105 diff, they're 100mm wider than the 79 diff, so all my brake lines and handbrake cables were always going to be too long. So thank God for the boys at Sunshine Coast 4 Drive Wreckers. They've always got stuff in stock, so I just whipped up there and grabbed it. So now I'll fit it all up and hopefully start making some progress. It's yeah, been one of those days. Okay, sweet. So shockers are in, which is probably the most exciting part about the whole thing, is that these 2.5s just change the game, especially when you're like carrying the sort of weight I am, like 4.2 tonne and then probably about 2 tonne of trailer. Just being able to adjust the rebound and adjust the compression, it's just, yeah. Anyway, so I'm frothing on that. Handbrake cable's going in. Superior actually make a little extension there, so I don't know if you can see that. And what it does is, because the shockies are mounted at the rear, it pulls them away from the actual shafts. I know it doesn't look like it down there, but by the time the handbrake's tensioned, it will be. So, yeah, just got the brake lines in, the ones I got from Sunshine Coast 4 Drive Wreckers this afternoon. So they're in, they're good to go. Just one more bolt up there. And then Superior actually supply in this kit, which is genius, because there is my old brake line, which I snapped. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to take this down to the shops and get a new one built. But Superior actually supply a braided brake line that comes with the kit. So that tees into there. Basically, you take that off, that tees into there, and then it runs down your upper control arm, you zippy tie it to there, and then it runs down the back. So I don't know if I just got lucky or whether that's genius from the guys, but I'm pretty happy with that. Saved me a trip, so yeah. Getting there. Andy's done the wheel bearings for me in the other hub. He's really good at that. The way he packs them, a bit better than what I do. Probably why they don't last very long. But yeah, I'm hoping to have this thing rolling in a couple of hours. So that'll be a milestone. It's only been 3 days I've been working on it, but I am pretty keen to get it done. Yeah, only because I've got so much other shit to do. So coils are in, airbags are in, shocks are in. Everything's just sitting there nice and loose. So basically, when we sit it down with the tray on and get it to ride height, then I'll nip everything up. Basically, you don't want to nip everything up at hoist height. The bushes will just be working way too hard. So I'll wait till she's all on flat ground. Andy set the pinion by eye, so I'm interested to get it to ride height and then take a measurement, see what it actually is. It's got to be within 3 degrees, parallel to the front. So yes, yeah, bit of a mission, but getting there. Can't actually wait to just use it. That's the biggest thing. I just want to take it for a spin. Yeah, I just wanted to touch base on tools. Obviously, I've got this good little kit that I got from Total Tools a couple of years ago, and it's basically got everything we need. Ratchet spanners and all that kind of stuff, and awesome little kit. But one thing I find myself dabbling into every single day is my dad's toolkit. So basically, Dad was a mechanic. It's probably where I got my my passion for sort of having a go at stuff. He actually died about 2.5 months ago from cancer, and I inherited all his tools. Now, it's almost every single day I find myself in Dad's kit just for little things like gasket glue and cable ties and just emery tape and like a proper actual mechanic's toolkit where he's got a tool for everything, like slide hammers and spring compressors and everything you can think of. Is literally like, even look at his little electrical box. So, old boy, if you're watching this somehow, thanks for the kit, mate. I use it every single day. I'm pretty chuffed with this one, so I'm just going through the motions of setting up this sway bar. So basically, there's my rubbers, there's my 2 bushes that go in there. Now, this is the first. The guys actually supply you with WP grease, so you can put it around it. That's pretty cool, I reckon. So I'll go through, I'm gonna set this sway bar up now and get that in. Be one step closer. Now this would have to be one of the worst systems for the wheel bearings. You've got a backing plate with some grub screws that locate that. What a shit show. They could have done it so much freaking better than that. Can't see a thing.
Have a go, Toyota.
Got the rotors on, adjusted the handbrake, so just go through, put these brake pads in, and it's time for axles. It's going to be all new in the arse end, wheel bearings, rotors, handbrakes, everything. So yes, it's good peace of mind when you're getting back on the road that everything's up to scratch, especially after the kind of trip we did. You got a hard life. Alright, so it caused me a little doozy yesterday trying to reroute that brake line. I busted it. I'll just show you. That bit there, so basically Andy's got a little flaring kit. I got a adapter this morning. I'm just playing around with it.
Gonna need the other door.
How was your trial one?
Oh, it's
It's a little adapter. Yeah.
the door doesn't work.
Winning? This is our last trial. Had a few practice goes at it. No? Get him! Yes! Get it off the hoist today. Alrighty, so I was back to back in this morning. I had to get it out on the weekend. Andy's been working on his chassis, so he's got his bracing in there now and a bit of primer on it. So, and he's got his cab back near the hoist, so he's into it. So I had to get this out. So basically, this morning I have just nipped all the bolts up. I have put some diff oil in. I've refitted my handbrake cable. I had to get a new one, obviously, because of the smaller diff. I just got to reroute that now. So basically all I've got to do is mount these remote reses somewhere along here, out of the way, and then hook the sway bar up. So this fella here, I've just started putting the bushes in. Oh yeah, I've got to do front panhard and front steering arm. So really, really close now. Hey, sweet. So the remote reses are mounted. I started putting them in different spots, which is a bit annoying, but doesn't really matter. Yeah, just rerun the handbrake line down the bottom there. Fixed a few things up that I got backwards. Just got to nip these up now and put this sway bar in. So, yeah. Sweet. So, I think I'm done. Sway bar's in, on the bottom there. Everything's nipped up. I've tidied up all the wiring. Handbrake's in. I'm pretty sure these are just for the tail lights. I need to sort that out, but remote reses are mounted. Exhaust is back on. Yes. So, basically, that's my my version of the superior coil conversion done. So, triangulated 4-link, got rid of my panhard, no more 5-link, no more rear bump steer, way more articulation, and hopefully just a smoother ride. So, yeah, I know it wasn't probably how you're going to see it. I obviously already had the diff done and all that sort of stuff, but yeah. Now to show you guys how it's going to work, basically, there's no point in me doing a, getting it on the forklift and doing a flex shot because I've got 22mm coils in there. So basically they are load rated for the canopy. So until I get some weight on the back of this thing, I reckon I've got pretty well Buckley's chance of getting it flexing up. But what you will see is our next YouTube episode when we're back on the road, towing the trailer, canopy on, loaded to the shit house, and you'll get a good idea of how this thing's handling now. So if you've seen any of the old ones, you realise how bad it did handle. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled. I'll let you know how it's all going, but yeah, pretty keen to see how this thing goes. One hell of a kit.